So we have reached the final episode for part 2 of the final season of Attack on Titan, and it's been a journey. Today's episode was insane just as usual, but before we get into the regular as we do with the breakdown videos, it's been confirmed that we will be getting a part 3 to the final season sometime in 2023. So we will be back next year. And as usual, I just wanted to thank you guys for all the support and love you show towards the Attack on Titan videos, because it's definitely not easy getting these videos out every week. Sometimes I'm not gonna lie, I be tired as hell, but you guys definitely make it worth it, and I always enjoy seeing your takes and opinions on the new episodes and just discussing as a community. So thank you. Also, I'll probably be dropping another Attack on Titan video the day after this one, or on the same day if I can finish it in time, so stay tuned and let's get right into the video. Attack on Titan Season 4 Episode 28, titled The Dawn of Humanity. In the last episode of Attack on Titan, we had the battle between the Jaegerists and the allied forces of Marley and Paradis come to an end, and the entire episode was completely action-packed. We had Falco using the power of the Jaw Titan for the first time, Floch's charge against the enemy, Magath and Keith Shadish sacrificing themselves. It was all going down last episode. But with the Jaegerists being defeated, our group moves forward to stop Eren and the rumbling, but it doesn't look like things will be that simple, as Marley already seems to be doomed to destruction by the rumbling, which causes Annie to lose all reason to fight. But what exactly will happen? So today I'm going to be breaking down and analysing this latest episode of Attack on Titan, while clearing up some things you might have missed or weren't sure about. So if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more Attack on Titan content, and let's get right into the video. With the beginning of episode 28, we get to see a flashback from Mikasa's perspective on when the residents of Paradis went to Marley. So following the alliance between Zeke's people and the residents on Paradis before the events of season 4 took place, Eren and the others went to visit Marley for multiple reasons. They had to go and see how the outside world was so they could gain more understanding of their situation and explore any avenues for peace. Naturally, those who came from Marley, being the volunteers and Zeke, already knew the hopelessness of the situation in regards to Paradis and the rest of the world, but taking into account the type of situation, of course Eren and the others had to witness everything firsthand. So with the arrival on Marley, we get to see our beloved survey corps in a different setting, enjoying things such as ice cream, seeing cars for the first time, Levi being trolled by a clown, etc. And the culture shock was very apparent. But moving on from this, we have a small scene where Sasha gets her coin purse stolen by a young boy who lives on Marley, and long story short, this little situation gets completely blown out of proportion by the other Marley residents. And it just puts on display for the survey corps as to just how heavy the discrimination is for potential Eldians outside of Paradis. Like, these people wanted to toss the kid into the sea or even smash his hand due to the fact he stole, and they didn't even want to accept the fact that Sasha, who was the victim in this situation, was willing to let it slide herself. Again, this was just showing our main cast firsthand the harsh reality of their situation. And I think it's very important to point out the fact that Eren naturally had a different reaction to all these situations / encounters in this episode, since he's already seen the future by this point and the past through Grisha's memories. Anyway, after this we see the survey corps meeting up with Kiyomi Azumabito, and she explains the viewpoint the rest of the world has towards the Eldians outside the walls, and how difficult it will be for peace negotiations to take place. Naturally, the Azumabito clan with their position will try to help the situation, but again, it doesn't look good. And obviously, with the current hindsight we have in the series, given the battle on Paradis and the rumbling, etc., it's clear that peace was never an option, but we can see that as the main survey corps members, the ones who are currently going against Eren and the rumbling, who are trying desperately to find a path, with Eren being a different case altogether for obvious reasons. Shortly after this, we see Eren watching over the camp where war victims are staying with a tear over his face, and this is for multiple reasons. One, Eren knows that this place will be subject to the rumbling in the future if he goes along with it, as we are currently witnessing, and two, just like him, they lost their freedom at one point, which is why they are in their current situation. But this part of the episode is still from Mikasa's perspective, so let me focus on that more for the time being. After Mikasa arrives, Eren asks her why she cares so much about him and what he is to her, and a very flustered Mikasa responds, saying that he's family. Unfortunately, before we can have any elaboration or further discussion between the two of them, they both get invited by one of the people in the camp to have a drink, and this ends up with the whole survey corps having a full-blown party with the refugees and having a great time. We see them drinking alcohol and dancing, and just appreciating the culture of those they are with, which is a completely different experience to what would happen the next day when they attend political talks for the situation on Eldians around the world. And once again, they see just how much hate the world has for the island and the sheer hopelessness of the situation, which is why Eren ended up leaving halfway through, because he already knows it's pointless from what he had seen. But I think it's important to point out that despite this, Eren still looked for a way, or I guess you can say was somewhat patient with his friends in trying to find a possible route to peace. But we all know how that ended up turning out. Eren would end up going off on his own and joining Zeke, attacking Marley, etc., and all these events would lead to the current day. which makes Mikasa question whether if she gave another answer to Eren that day, if things could have turned out different. But who knows. Now with the next portion of the episode, we get to see Eren's perspective on things, and honestly they make the contrast between Eren's beliefs and the others very clear in the episode, which I liked a lot, from the colour schemes, OSTs and more. We see Eren talking to himself, asking where everything began, and we then see multiple flashbacks in response to his thinking. The first with him and Mikasa at the tree we saw in episode 1, the next with the pig pen, which is referencing to Ymir freeing the pigs, which essentially started the story, or at least you can look at it this way, and the third with Eren being born. Anyway, Eren says that it doesn't matter and that everything that happens now is all him, as we tune into his initial discussion with Yelena about the euthanization plan. Eren has Floch overhear the whole discussion and tells him that they will only pretend to follow the plan. And then we see Eren talking to his story about the MPs wanting to turn her into a Titan for the plan to work to save Paradis. So pretty much this last part of the episode is just showing Eren's reasoning for everything and his foundation for his rumbling, since during the entirety of season 4, this context hasn't really been touched upon. Eren isn't willing to sacrifice any of his friends for the sake of the rest of the world, and he wants them to live long lives, and he's willing to commit genocide for that reason regardless of what they think. Like when he told his story about his plans, she was against it completely, despite the fact that she's going to be the victim if he doesn't end up doing this, because her and her offspring would be stuck in an endless cycle of eating one another to protect Paradis. And even when he told Floch, he had one of those expressions like, is this guy serious? So you can just tell how against this idea of genocide everyone is. I mean, even Floch, even though he ended up supporting it because obviously he took control of the Jaegerists and was willing to help Eren, initially he was even looking very shocked. But Eren is hell-bent on destroying the rest of the world to save those close to him, and for obvious reasons his friends want to stand against him, since it's genocide and millions of innocents would be killed, but I'd be lying if I said I can't see and understand Eren's viewpoints. Moving on from this scene, we see Eren asking Zeke about Ackermans having a need to protect their host, headaches and illnesses, etc. Basically everything Eren said to Mikasa at the table scene back in part 1, and Zeke responds saying that there's no such thing and that Mikasa probably likes him so much that she would snap a Titan's neck for him. We then see the gruesome scene of how Eren gained his, I guess you can say, hobo look, since that's what many refer to it in the fandom, when he was undercover in Marley, and it was by cutting off his leg with a knife while he was in the trenches and jamming a bullet into his eye. Honestly, his pain tolerance is something else, but I guess after being a Titan for so many years he's just used to it. And while these scenes are playing out, we can see that Eren truly wants his friends to live no matter what he has to do, this act only being a small testament to that. Now for the last part of the episode, and man this was absolutely insane, we can see the Colossal Titans of the rumbling against the global allied fleets, and this scene was just so ominous. I couldn't help but just staying silent watching it, especially when they used that OST from season 1 episode 1, and I forgot the name of it, so I'd appreciate if someone could remind me in the comments. But yeah, the rumbling completely destroys humanity's strongest obstacle, meaning that the world is doomed as long as the Titans continue to march. And seeing the soldiers run away just really gave that nostalgic fear associated with the Titans. The hopelessness in their eyes when they saw Eren's founding Titan, it just really hit home for me. And the episode ending with that great parallel to episode 1 of the actual show, OST and all, from Eren saying he would wipe out all his enemies back when he was a kid and witnessed his mother's death, to now actually being in the process of doing it with the rumbling. It was just amazing and I had no complaints. And with that being said, we come to the end of the episode. So episode 28, I'll definitely give it like a 9.5 out of 10. This was a really solid episode, and once again shout out to Mappa, they killed it with this season. This was a really good season. I really can't wait to actually watch it back, because you know, every week I'm making videos on it, so it's not as it's enjoyable, but it's not as enjoyable as when you get to like binge everything. And obviously we do have part 3 confirmed, so we have to wait till 2023 for the rest. But this has been a good few months. I definitely enjoyed making these videos. Sorry I was late on this one. I had some stuff come up yesterday to where I couldn't actually drop it at the time I wanted to, so I'm dropping it late the next day. But yeah, I should have another Attack on Titan video dropping today or tomorrow. I don't know, definitely tomorrow, but it could drop today, I don't know, so just stay tuned. And if you do enjoy the Attack on Titan videos, make sure to smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and tell me what your favorite part of the whole season was, or the whole of part 2 was, since obviously the season isn't over. I appreciate you guys, I appreciate all the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.